Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP, but I got to talk about a few other things first, such as this. If Congress does not raise or suspend the debt ceiling, the Treasury Department will be unable to continue to satisfy all the government's obligations by early June 1st. How many of you honestly care about the government's obligations? Because I sure don't. And I know the debt ceiling is nothing but a sham. There is no debt ceiling. But every single year they do the same exact thing. If we don't raise the debt ceiling, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. It's going to be catastrophic. Then at the last moment, they raise the debt ceiling. How about they just stop spending money? Because me and you get to pay for this all in the end, and they're never paying that debt back, period. They don't even have a plan on paying it back. But instead of raising the debt ceiling, maybe you don't hire all those new IRS agents that are coming to look into our crypto holdings. Or maybe you go to the Ukraine and find the $400 million that's still missing somehow. But this is all part of the plan. Think about it. They have to weaken the United States so China can rise. It's part of the Great Reset. Then there's this. So President Biden says, we are well on the way to stabilizing the banking system. How many of you honestly believe him? I do. I just think he worded it wrong. We are well on the way to consolidating the banking system is what he should have actually said, because that's exactly what's happening. Failed First Republic Bank has been sold to JP Morgan in a $63 billion bailout. Why did all these banks start failing after Joe Biden took office? It's because Joe Biden does not work for the American people. He works for the World Economic Forum. And it's no surprise that JP Morgan bought this bank out. I knew that was going to happen. It was just a matter of which bank was going to do it. Money no more. Biden backs the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab. And it's not hard to see. Go back and take a look at Executive Order 14067. That explains who Biden's working for right there. We're headed towards a cashless society. Contagion? No, Mario. This is intentional. When there are only a few banks left, it will be easier to control the masses. It's not that hard. And that's why I said it's all part of the plan. Billionaires line up behind Biden for 2024. Stakes are higher than ever. And that's how you know who he's working for, the elitist of the world. But one name you got to pay attention to is Alexander Soros, the son of billionaire George Soros. Because you ever wonder about the crime in the major cities? It's all tied right back to the Soros. And, that's going to continue even after George is gone with his son Alexander, because I'm sure he instilled all of that into him. But, we are living in a time now where everything is becoming more and more important. We can't go another 4 years the way we're headed now. The U.S. is going to lose power. We will no longer be a superpower at the rate we're going. A lot of real estate isn't so good anymore, says Charlie Munger. A lot of real estate isn't so good anymore. We have a lot of troubled office buildings, a lot of troubled shopping centers, a lot of troubled other properties. There's a lot of agony out there. And you know why it's like that? Because who wants to buy a shopping center in a place where people run in, grab whatever they want, and walk out the door? We see it even happening with Target and Walmart and Nike. Then you got to look at the office buildings. Who wants to work in an office building where they're afraid to walk through the parking lot at the end of the day because they might get beat down? That's what's being created in every single major city right now. And this is going to roll into the residential market as well. But I see something playing out that could be perfect. If you're interested in investing in real estate in the future, you might have one of the greatest opportunities coming up. Because think about it, as the US dollar falls, crypto is going to rise. XRP is going to skyrocket in value at some point. At the same time, the housing bubble's going to pop. I don't believe these realtors in this whole there's a housing shortage. You got to buy at the all time high. Listen, you're a crypto investor. Act accordingly. You buy the bottom. So, as the housing bubble pops and crypto rises, you might be able to buy houses on the cheap in the future. It looks like it's lining up perfectly. Ripple releases 1 billion XRP as part of distribution strategy. Now we know this was happening anyway because this is something that got started, I think it was back in like 2017, and every so often Ripple just releases 1 billion tokens, but this time around they're saying it's not going to have a major effect on the price. So that's a good thing. IOTA, Ripple, and Stellar to conquer trillion-dollar market with SWIFT under ISO 222 regulation. Let me tell you something. I was talking about IOTA when nobody was paying attention to it. I said, this is a hidden gem. You got to get in while it's still cheap. And now it's starting to really build out. It's starting to become something incredible. I'm going to do a video on it probably this week. So Ripple, IOTA, and Stellar offer solutions that could serve an untapped industry. Should all networks come together to meet the needs of the demographics in that industry, billions of dollars could be recorded in revenue. According to a report from Finextra Research, low-value cross-border payments are significant for a large number of companies and businesses globally, with these transactions having a major impact on the real world. Low-value cross-border payments is a key part of the global economy. According to recent reports, Ripple, IOTA, and Stellar are set to work with SWIFT under the ISO 222 regulation. Other market infrastructures across the world, namely the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, the Federal Reserve, and the Bank of England, have all collectively made plans to move to ISO 222 between the years of 2022 and 2025. So now we're starting to see how even more of these cryptos will be tied in, forming that massive network that is the new financial system. But it's nice to see IOTA included in this finally, because I said for a while, this is a hidden gem. You need to wake up on it. And now that they're working with Ripple and Stellar, it's going to become something much bigger. Former Ripple executive XRP Ledger is years ahead of Ethereum. And, people still don't understand that. They're always talking about Ethereum like it's going to become better and better over time. It's never going to become better. It's still going to be expensive, and it's going to be a congested network till it eventually phases out. And people move project after project off of there, which we're seeing now through Hedera and other networks as well, like Zinfin and XDC. So he clarified that the XRP Ledger has existed for several years before Ethereum was launched. Per Hamilton, Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin used to sleep on the couch of Ripple CTO David Schwartz while making moves to get enrolled as an intern in Ripple. And I said it a while ago, XRP is years ahead of everything right now around banking and finance. They have to jump on every single company out there. That's why JP Morgan is so afraid of Ripple and XRP. Reportedly, Ripple and the SEC to hold undisclosed meeting on May 8th. Unconfirmed source. Everybody is always worried, like something's happening in the background. Honestly, it started out all the way back in January with this. So everything is briefed. Now we wait. James Fillon, attorney at Ripple. And ever since then, every little announcement's like, this is it. This is the moment that Ripple's going to get that judgment and XRP's going to skyrocket. Now people are at the point where they're just making updates as well. The only date I'm going to pay attention to is the one Johnny Deaton talked about, which was May 6th. Let's see what happens then. If nothing happens, I think we're going to be waiting until the end of June, right before FedNow goes live. Hacked Coinbase accounts being sold on the dark web have surfaced, with prices ranging from as low as $610. Coinbase, in my opinion, is out there fighting for crypto on one hand. But I also think something much bigger is going on in the background. I still think they have a lot of ties with things going on at the SEC as well. But this is another reason you got to keep your crypto safe. You got to keep your accounts safe. You can't be out there just clicking on random things that look too good to be true. Because you know what? They are too good to be true. And we are at a crucial time. At any moment, that judge could rule in favor of Ripple sending XRP to the moon. You want to make sure your crypto's safe when that happens. Top lawyer explains why Coinbase will not delist Ethereum. Now, a lot of people always said at some point Coinbase is going to delist Ethereum as well after the SEC sues Ethereum, because most people are still expecting that to happen. But attorney Morgan says Coinbase will not delist Bitcoin and Ethereum because both assets account for 65% of its trading volume. In a tweet yesterday, Australian-based lawyer Bill Morgan asserts that San Francisco-based cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase will never treat Bitcoin and Ethereum the same way as XRP. Per the attorney, Coinbase will not treat Ethereum and Bitcoin as XRP because its business model highly depends on trading the two largest cryptocurrencies by market cap. But what if Coinbase was to relist XRP? That would bring in a ton of revenue, especially at a time where XRP is poised to pass $10. Look at all that FOMO money that's going to pour in as well. But this might play out bad for Coinbase in court. Take a look. So XRP enthusiast and Australian-based lawyer Bill Morgan believes that the fact that Coinbase crypto exchange delisted or ceased to allow the trading of XRP might hurt its fair notice defense to claim by the SEC. So in the past week, Coinbase formally responded to a Wells notice from the SEC. A Wells notice is the way that the SEC staff tells a company that they are recommending that the SEC take enforcement action for possible violations of security laws. But he goes on to say, he points out, according to Coinbase's Wells notice response, the exchange anticipates using the fair notice defense if it's ever sued. He adds that Coinbase contends it has a stronger fair notice defense than other defendants, and even footnotes Ripple's fair notice defense. While this appears to be a good thing, Morgan claims that Coinbase faces a problem because it delisted XRP in January of 2021, which occurred shortly after the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit was filed. This might have suggested that Coinbase had given the matter some thought and had decided to stop trading XRP. He believes that puts Coinbase on notice that its listing process might have captured securities. Morgan thinks Coinbase ought to have maintained its position that it does not list securities and refrain from delisting any token. And he says, I ought to have argued that no secondary market transactions on its exchange constitute sales of securities and that the SEC was only suing Ripple for its sales. So now that Coinbase said it was because they delisted XRP because it's a security, it cancels out their fair notice, defense against the SEC now. So that doesn't look good for them at all. But honestly, I think what was going on was that Coinbase and the SEC probably had talks back then, and Ethereum was, JP Morgan was probably at that table. That's what I really think was going on in the background, but that's my theory. You might have a different theory than me, but it makes sense because we see other exchanges still selling XRP. Look at Uphold. If I was a crypto exchange, I would have never delisted XRP. And it's not because I love XRP. It's because I would have waited to see the outcome of the case first. If Ripple was to lose against the SEC, then I would delist it if I was the exchange. But there was no reason for Coinbase to do it at all, but they chose to do it, or somebody got into their ear. That's why I think JP Morgan was at the table with the SEC and Coinbase. But I think everything's looking really good for XRP for the future. I mean, we have a lot to look forward to as XRP holders. And like I said, if you're looking to get into real estate in the future, a perfect storm might be setting up for that. The US dollar falling, housing market bubble bursting. All of a sudden, you're buying houses on the cheap. Let's see what happens. But with that said, I'm going to wrap up today's video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you watching my videos. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.